Good morning. It's so exciting to see so many of you joining us today. My name is Jamie Quinzer, and I am the VP of Marketing at CINC. I'm joined by Nick Waldner. Today we'll be discussing growing your sphere business and working with people you like. Nick has been a CINC client for the past 3 years in the Maryland area, and will be sharing tons of information with us today. So we'll give everyone just 30 seconds to log in. For those that joined us yesterday when we had some technical difficulties, our apologies. Sometimes technology doesn't always work the way you want it to, but we're here today. Just a couple of housekeeping things. As you have any questions, please share them in that chat box, and we'll be answering as we go along. And then finally, this will be recorded, so Nick will have tons of takeaways, best practices. You can email him, or we'll be sending it out. So please ask all the questions, and we'll go from there. So Nick, as you finish and you're ready to go, I know you have tons of energy, you're hyped. So let's get it going.
All right, I'm good. I can get started right away. So,
Perfect.
Jamie, thank you for the introduction. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name's Nick Waldner. I have a real estate team in Maryland, so we're helping people buy and sell every day. If you have anybody moving to Maryland, this is why I share, this is why I give, this is where I teach, because I'm hopeful that you'll think of me when you have somebody moving to the Maryland area. And we cover just about the entire state. It's a modest-sized team. I think we have 14 agents working for us. Last month, we put 45 homes under contract. This month, what's today? Today is the 17th, and we have 25 or 26 under contract already this month. So we've been really rolling through this. Even with COVID, Maryland's a shutdown state, and we were deemed essential. Actually, we were not essential, 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 not essential, essential. But over that course of those 9 days, they did finally agree that we're essential. So that helped a little bit, but we've had to deal with all the same issues and problems that I'm sure you guys are dealing with as well. And one of the great things about that is it actually helped me understand that by complete and total chance, not for any brains of my own, the method that we grew our business really spoke well for what was going on. And that's why we've been able to do so well, even in this kind of crazy market.
What's been the one thing, Nick, that you've done that has helped the past 3 months, whether it be your team or an individual agent in production? What's the one thing that you think has really continued that consistency?
Yeah, so I think one of the best things we did is right from the beginning, we set really clear schedules. So on my team, we have an 8:30 Zoom call every single morning. Everybody's on it. We talk about successes and failures the day before. There's a little bit of scripts and dialogues where we're getting into, things that you heard over the last 1 or 2 days that you didn't know how to answer. You didn't know how to, combat that seller who said, I'm afraid to let people in my house. Okay, great. What do you say? So we dug into that every single morning at 8:30 and planned out what we were going to say over and over and over again. So as those conversations happened in weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we were dialed in and ready. We also set our goals for the day. My goal is to call 30 people in CINC, to whatever, Facebook message 10 people, whatever their goals were for the day. We set them at 8:30. And then at 4:30, we had a follow-up call. 4:30 call is short. Hey, Jamie, what were your goal today? How did you do? Give us something good. What happened good? And all of a sudden you started getting, like, one person would say, oh, I called and I talked to this great lead who wants to buy in the next, 60 days. And then somebody else who didn't have a great day would go, well, if Jamie can do it, I can do it. All right, tomorrow's a new day. And it really kept the energy up. And then we did a training every day at noon. So 8:30, noon, and 4:30 every day, Monday through Friday.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned CINC, and we'll dive into that a little bit today, but while CINC has been your data bank, you also have phenomenal sphere of influence in referral business tips to share with us today. So let's start there, and then we can kind of organically move our way back, because I know that that's the main priority of today's chat.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, we are spending money and advertising and getting leads from CINC, but to be honest, the number one way we use CINC is for our sphere business and producing that sphere business. So earlier I alluded to, kind of lucking into a good scenario that really worked with this COVID. And we do business with people who know us, like us, and trust us. And I know that sounds really simple and everybody says they do, but what I mean by that is we have a set process to follow up, to stay in touch, to stay in emotional proximity with everyone in our sphere. So what that means, emotional proximity, think about if I said to you today, hey, this weekend, let's go out to a really nice restaurant. Let's get a really good dinner. I'm paying whatever you want in your hometown. So I'm going to fly to you. Everybody on this call would say, all right, I'm going to go to this place and I'm going to order this. And I definitely want to sit in this section of the bar and I'm going to do it. And they know exactly what they want. Now, if I said fly to Baltimore and I'll take you to any restaurant you want, what would you do? You would Google it, you would go to Yelp, you'd go to Facebook, you'd ask people's opinion. You don't know because you're not in emotional proximity with any restaurants in Baltimore like you are where you are. Where you are, you probably know the owner, you know what you've ordered before that you really liked. Maybe you have a waiter or waitress that's really great. Like you understand and you're connected to that restaurant. In real estate, the toughest part about that is our transaction cycles are, let's call it every 5 to 7 years. So if I start working with a buyer, I'm going to work with them probably about 90 to 100 days prior to the transaction. Then we're going to settle, and then I'm not going to work with them again for 7 years. That is very hard to stay in emotional proximity for the next 7 years. So early on, I decided, all right, if I want to sell 50 homes a year, you know what would be easy? If I had 25 people that each gave me 2 referrals. That's it. So I don't have to go out and find, 10,000 people to find the 1,000 that might be interested, to break it down to the 100 that might have the right credit and good timing, and then the 50 that'll actually work with me. That's a lot of work. I just need to have 25 great relationships where they reach out to me and say, hey, Nick, I got somebody else for you. So how do you stay in great relationship with people? It's like this. It's face-to-face. Now, in reality, being face-to-face is not easy, especially right now. We can't drive anywhere. We're all locked in. So this is the next best thing. Down from this is phone calls. So when I call somebody and I have a conversation with them, that is a great way to connect as well. Email, text, social media are all much lower on that list. So what I deducted from that a few years ago is we realized that the most important thing we could do with our database, so these are people that know us, like us, and trust us, is to call them, is to get on the phone and physically call them. Yeah, I'd love to have coffee with them. I'd love to go to dinner with them, but it's not realistic to have that many coffees and dinners. It's very realistic to say I'm going to call 5 people today. That's anybody can do it every single day. So knowing that, let's understand why I chose that direction, and that's why I teach that to my team. When you survey the population and you say, of the entire population, how many people are trustworthy? How many people are trustworthy of the population? Now think about it right now, come up with a number in your head. The average person will say 30% of the population is trustworthy. 30%. Wow. So by majority, already 2/3 of society is not trustworthy. There's already a fear of everyone else. Now, if you would ask the same group of people, how many people do you know that are trustworthy? The number flips and they answer roughly around 70% each time. So, well, if I know them and I've vetted them with my mind and probably about 70% of them are trustworthy. So you automatically trust somebody because you know them. So knowing that fact and kind of understanding that, that's where we got into this business, where if I work with, so in order to get somebody to buy or sell real estate with me, they have to know me, they have to like me, and they have to trust me. Now, CINC does a great job of introducing us to people who don't know us, because that's the first hurdle. So that's why we do internet marketing. That's why we do all this stuff, to get people to get to know. But if I already know them, I'm already done that hurdle. And then if they already like me, we already have a relationship, and a relationship can be anything. I went to high school with them. We worked our first job together. Our kids go to school together. They cut my hair, whatever. You notice my haircut, I did it myself. I'm very good at this now. But whatever it is, like, they already know you, they already like you. And the only thing you have to do is build trust in real estate. You build that trust and everything else falls into place. So yeah, that was a big answer for what you asked, but does that kind of make sense of where I developed and where I went with our business and why we grew it that way?
For sure. So you're at the know, and then you're building the like and the trust. What are some ways that you can continue that relationship, right? Like, we've both been out of high school for a period of time. So when you, okay, I have, maybe you haven't, you're just fresh. But what are some ways that are very tactical that if you haven't talked to someone for, 15, 20 years, that you're continuing that relationship?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we're figuring out, so now we're going to know, we all know what we want. We want people that know us, like us, and trust us. And then we need to stay in close emotional proximity with them. And we do that. One of the best methods is over the phone. So we know all that stuff. So if we look back to just people that know us, yeah, 20 years ago, you went to high school with somebody, that's fine. But who knows you and trusts you and likes you right now? Let's start with that group. So the first thing I want you to do is make a list of every past client you've ever had. So new agents, that might be a shorter list, 5, 10, 20 clients. Agents that have been in the business a while, you might have 100, 500, 1,000. You might have a massive amount of people who know you because they worked with you. They like you because they chose to work with you, and they already trust you because they did a transaction with you. So before you start going off to everybody that you know, start with the people that already check all 3 boxes. And that's your connection. That's where you're going. So newer agents, you're going to have to go after people that know you and like you, but haven't formed any business trust in you. Agents that have a little bit more experience, you already have them. Now, here's the key. Knowing and liking you are 2 pretty strong words. I don't know about you guys, but I've had some clients that by the end of the transaction, I did not like them. I don't know if they liked me. It was a pain. Every day was like torture. That person does not get put in my system. I'm not following up with them. I'm not looking to connect with them and stay connected. I'm good letting them roll on. Okay. So it doesn't mean everybody that works with you goes in that list, because most likely their friends are just like them. And if I hated working with them, I'm going to hate working with their friends. So just know you don't have to have everybody in that list. But now that I start developing that list and I start saying, and I mentioned, hey, we need to call them. So once we have our list together, the only question is, how frequent do I call them and at what intensity level? So if I would pick up the phone, because remember I told you face-to-face is number 1, but it's very hard to do with a large list of people. So it goes straight to the phone. If I would call you every single week and say, hey, how are you? How are your kids? How's the house? Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate? You're already shaking your head, because the first time you'd be like, oh yeah, kids are good, house is good, thanks for checking in. And then the second time you'd be like, kids are good, house is good, why are you checking in? Then the third time they're gonna go like this. Oh, no, I'm not answering that weirdo. So now we understand that the frequency and intensity have to be varied. So what I've found is, take all of your past clients, and if you would have done this one thing, if you would have called each one of them once a quarter, so that's a 3-month time period, you called them one time and checked in on them. So think about how many past clients you had. What would it have looked like if you would have done that, if you would have reached out and just had a conversation with them? What we tend to forget is, I'm not staying in contact with somebody for 7 years in order for that person to do business with me again 7 years from now. I'm staying in contact so that I can help their brother, their sister-in-law, their friend from work, the guy they work out at the gym. I want to tap into their network and get a referral from them every single year. So every time you have a client who gives you a referral, they get moved up to a higher level. So if I'm calling all my past clients once every 90 days, if someone's giving me 1 or 2 or 3 referrals, I'm probably calling them once a month. I've probably picked up the amount of time. If I have somebody that's giving me 10 or 15 or 20 referrals, like, works at a divorce attorney or, something like that, I'm going to lunch with him. I'm taking him out for drinks. I'm spending time with him. I'm keeping that emotional proximity. So what we're going to start with is you get that list of people that you have that know you, like you, and trust you in business. Now, when I say trust, I want to add this in. When I say trust, they either worked with you in a transaction or they referred you business. So have you ever had that client or that friend who you've actually never bought or sold a house with them, but they are always like, oh, you got to use Nick, he's the best. Well, they already trust you in business. You don't have to do a transaction. Add that person to the list. Make sure they're included in that. So you take that entire list, and your goal is to make that list 325 people. The goal is not quantity. If you say, oh, I have 18,000 people in my CINC account, I have 25,000 people in my CINC account. No. Know you, like you, and trust you. They've either done business with you or they referred you business. The goal is to keep that small. How do we keep that around 325? Now, Jamie, why did I choose 325?
Very similar to like 365. So almost like a call a day.
Oh, very close.
Okay, tell me why.
You did the math correctly, or you did math, which is good, just not correctly. But what it amounts to is if I call 5 people a day, Monday through Friday, for the entire quarter, I'm going to call 325 people. So that 325 people gets a call in quarter 1, a call in quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. Now, back when I was telling you about some people don't get put on that list, it's because it's not about quantity, it's about quality. I want people who know me, like me, and trust me, and are willing to give me a referral. I want people that I think I can actually get business from. If you have the most introverted client ever, and you know they're not talking to anybody, they're a hermit, they never leave their house, they might not be the best person for this system. Does that make sense? So
absolutely,
that's the goal. 5 calls a day. On average, you talk for about 5 minutes. So 25 minutes of total time. You do that every day, Monday through Friday, and you'll get through your entire 325 people and your business will grow.
Awesome. So wise. So when you're talking to them, walk me through what that dialogue looks like. Scripting, is it, hey, what's up? How do you make sure that even when you're calling them once a quarter, it's not boring?
Nice. I'm glad you said that. So that leads into what we develop next is, okay, so once a quarter, is that enough? Probably not. And then number 2, what am I calling every time I call, or what am I saying every time I call them? So what we've done is we hold 4 appreciation parties every year. So an appreciation party can be anything. You could get a grill in the local park and do some hot dogs and hamburgers and invite people over. But as you grow as a business, you can start getting to do more and more fun things. So for example, our one coming up this summer, fingers crossed we get to have it. Our one coming up this summer is at a dairy creamery. So we invite people to the farm. There's cows running around. They milk the cows right on the premises, and then they make ice cream right there, and it's a creamery. So we have everybody come to this place. We have the cows there. We have a bouncy house. We have a live band. We have all this fun stuff going on. We take a tour. We name the little baby cow that was just born yesterday. Then we go in. We see how the ice cream's made, and then we all eat as much ice cream as we want. So imagine that kind of scenario. So it's not just an invite to something. It's an experience that they can't have anywhere else. So I'll pick up the phone and I'll say, hey, Jamie, it's Nick. I know it's been a couple of weeks, but I was just thinking about you. Did you know that we have our client appreciation party coming up next month? It's Saturday, June 24th. I want to make sure you got the invite and I'd love to see you there. And then you go, Yeah, actually something just came in the mail the other day. And I say, oh, great. Well, listen, I'd love to see the family there. Listen, while I have you, do you need anything? Everything good with the house? Is there anything you want from me or anything I can help you with? And they're like, wow, no, awesome. And then they hang up the phone and they walk away and they go, wow, what a great guy. And that's how I stay in contact. And that's how I can call them every single quarter. And nobody ever looks down and goes, I'm not answering this. They look down and they go, oh, what's it this time? Hey, Nick, a pumpkin patch? Oh, yeah, that does sound fun. And blah, 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 blah. Now, one of the fears you're probably having in your head right now is if I invite 325 people to every one of my parties, yeah, it's expensive. That's more people than came to my wedding. This guy's insane. Here's the great news. This is not a wedding. People don't like you that much. On average, about 10 to 20 at the highest percent actually come. Because think about it. If I said to you, hey, on Saturday, I've got tickets to, let's say, you know, baseball was going on right now. I've got tickets to the baseball game. Do you want to go? I guarantee a lot of you would say, yes, but I can't. My kids have soccer. We have ballet that day. We have a 2-year-old birthday party. We're already going to the beach, or, you know, we're on vacation. There's a million reasons why it's not going to work in their schedule. And that's okay, because you're getting, when you just make the invite, you're getting all the credit in the world, even if they can't come, because you offered. So just remember, it doesn't have to be expensive. Here's another good one, for example. All the soccer fields around us are now turf. It's like absolutely fantastic. We used to play in like dirt. Now everything's turf and it's beautiful and all that stuff. So what we did is we got one of those big rented blow up movie screens. We brought in a projector and we played like Aladdin. You know, it wasn't the latest, greatest. It wasn't anything amazing. It was just like a silly Disney show. And we invited all the families there. Most of our single clients that were out running around the bars in the city were like, yeah, thanks, no thanks. And the families were like, oh my God, that sounds awesome. We will bring the kids. They all come up. Then we have, like, you know, all the pillows set up. The kids go running over. They sit down. They're staring up at the screen. The parents have watched Aladdin 727 times. So over here, we have a big popcorn machine and a couple candies and drinks. And they come over and they talk with us and they get some popcorn. And then they go check on their kids and they talk to other people. And then the kids get bored of watching the show, so they start running around the field. And it's just a fun night. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It's not, if I rent a theater and have you come to the theater, the cost is about 3 times as much. And I don't get to see or talk to you or interact with you at all. So you've got to create experiences where you can interact and you guys can hang out. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I've seen, I love that you go down the path of experiences. There's some agents that do like give away pies during Thanksgiving, poinsettias during Christmas. And I think those are additional touches and value adds when you gift items, but when you have them in your audience, and then that way you're talking about on a regular basis. So have you ever tried the strategy of gift giving to past clients and referrals?
Yeah, we do. So we actually have an entire system that we developed over the last couple of years, but just this quarantine, again, like the opportunity this quarantine has given us, one of the biggest pressures it put on me was, as the business owner, I needed to hammer down on the P&L. So we were using a company called winecountrygifts.com or something like that. So if we got a referral, we would do 3 things. One, we'd send you a thank you card. So you get a thank you card in the mail for any introduction. No matter where that introduction goes, good, bad, whatever, you get a thank you card just for thinking of us. Then the second we meet with that client, we send we used to send a tower of chocolates, and it was like $50. And then when they settled on their home, then we sent the person who referred us another gift, thanking them for the referral. So if somebody gives us a referral, we have a process in place to thank them 3 different times over the length of the transaction. So we recently changed to a new company. Here. I happen to have one right here. So it comes in a box like this. So it's a normal USPS box. When they open it up, it's got a custom card that says thank you, has all our team's information, has our logo on the back. we can design this entire card ourselves and put anything we want on it. So this is an old one. We've updated with a picture of the team and all kinds of stuff like that. And then there's a box that comes and it has, and then inside the box, you got popcorn or cookies or brownies or all that stuff. But every one of these labels is designed by us. It has our logo on it. It has all our information. It has a little picture of us. All this stuff is done so it's highly made. It looks like our team just packed that from our office and sent it. And I can send 4 brownies and a card for $24 shipped.
Wow.
Yeah. So my costs have got cut in half, and I'm able to do it where everything I send has my logo and my message. So like we've got all these different templates set up now. So like I have a thank you card if you gave me a client. I have a thank you card if you came and taught for my team and like helped us learn something. I have a thank you card for just thinking of you and want you to feel special. We have a card, we have a whole package that goes out that says, you know, a week after you settle, you know, here's a little something to make home sweet home a little sweeter. And it's got some brownies in there and all that stuff. I couldn't do all that before because $50 a pop, it's way too expensive. Now at 24, I can use those. If I just want to send the card itself, it's 50 cents for the card plus postage. I can't go to the store and buy a Hallmark card for that. So it's cheaper that way. So once we got that system rolling, our costs went down tremendously and everything got much more personalized.
You're building that authentic relationship.
Yes, yes.
Are you going to tell us what company you're utilizing to do that?
I will, but that company is awesome. And they said, so if you email me at info@waldnerwintersteam.com, so I wrote it right underneath my name, info@waldnerwintersteam.com, I'll send you that so you have it. Now that's important, but really, yes, I want you to know about that system because they're great, but really what you need to understand is how the entire system itself works. That's just one little piece of the cog. So it's good that that's cool and it's flashy and it's food, but the meat of what I'll send you is more about our 5-5-5 program. So remember, it's a 5-5-5 program. So let's get back to where we were when I said frequency and intensity. Well, calling somebody every week was too intense. So the intensity there, we cut it to once a quarter. Okay, so that's 4 phone calls a year. But that's not frequent enough throughout the year to stay really connected. So then what we added is month 1 is a phone call. Month 2 is a social media touch. So that would be me, a little pop-up in CINC comes up as a reminder and says, I need to do that. We just have an auto track set up and it pops up and it says, Jamie Facebook. And I go to your Facebook page, I see your last post and I see, oh my God, their baby is the cutest, or they have a new puppy, or they just went on a really nice vacation, or whatever it is. And I make a comment and ask a question. So I say, wow, that sunset is amazing. Where were you? And then what does every human on the planet do when that happens?
Brad, they're going to tell you all about it.
Yeah, they like my comment. They like me for even noticing. And then they write, oh, this was in the Bahamas. My husband just took me there on a whim. Isn't he the greatest? And you're like, yeah, he's great. But that's what people want. If you understand social media at all, the reason that we post, the reason that we put things out there is because every time we get a hit, a like or a comment, there's a little bit of dopamine that's released in our brain. And don't get me wrong, dopamine is the same thing that's released when you do cocaine. So we're talking like severe pleasure sensors here. And how does somebody feel about you when you're pushing on that pleasure sensor for them? You're making a comment, liking their thing, asking a question. So you tell me I was in the Bahamas, I'm so lucky, my husband surprised me. And then I write back, wow, that's amazing. I'm glad you guys are doing so well. Take care. That interaction was 2 to 3 minutes, and I do that with 5 people. So I call 5 people, and then I have 5 people that I social media touch, okay? Then our last 5 is, so month 1 is a call, Month 2 is a social media touch, and month 3 is a customized card. So the same card that I showed you, we have different cards that go out that says, oh God, from all kinds of different things. Some of them are just a simple postcard, or I'm sorry, a simple card that says, hey, I was just thinking of you. I was in your neighborhood showing property and just drove by your house and hoping you and the family's doing great, or something like that. Or it could be, hey, did you know that they opened up a new pizza place down the street? It's fantastic. You got to go check it out. Let me know what you think. Or, hey, I was just thinking of you. Hope you're doing well. Like, it can be that simple and basic, but it's something that comes in their mailbox. It's addressed to them. When they send it, it has an actual stamp on it, so it looks real. And people open it and they look at it and they're like, oh, that's nice. And that's it. So now any single one of my clients, they got a phone call from me, then we connected on social media, then they got a personalized card from me in that first quarter. If you notice the intensity that we're varying, but we're keeping the emotional proximity. So that's the key to this. And the reason I call it a 5-5-5 is month 1, I want you to do nothing but the phone call. Call 5 people a day, Monday through Friday, that's it. Should take you 25 minutes. Month 2, pick 5 new people to call, but you also have 5 people to social media touch from last month. If you called 5 on January 1st, that exact 5 gets a social media touch on February 1st. And on March 1st, that's when they get a personalized card. And it's that simple. That's the technique. So first month, 5 phone calls. Second month, 5 phone calls, 5 social media touches. Last month, 5 calls, 5 touches, and then 5 cards. So in total, you're talking 5 minutes of call, 25 minutes, 2 minutes of social media touch, 10 minutes, 2 minutes for a customized card because the system's already got it all. So you're talking 45 minutes of total time to stay in close proximity with 325 people that are most likely to give you a referral.
What percentage of your business would you say comes from this strategy that you've deployed?
So this year we're going to sell probably just over 400 homes, and 83% of it comes from referral or repeat business.
This is super tactical.
Yeah. So
anybody
I hear this all the time that like somebody's like, oh, I sold 45 homes last year and 80% of it was, referral and repeat. That's not that many because it's not a huge number. But when you start getting to 400, 600, 800, and you can keep that up there in the 80% range, that's a tremendous amount of work that goes behind it to get there. So a lot of the questions I get around this is, how do you determine who to call? Really simple. Give me your list of 325, and then I'm going to shut my eyes and I'm going to point to 5. And then you just call those 5 and you mark them off your list. Day 2, close your eyes and pick 5 more. It doesn't matter because once you get through the first 90 days, January 1st of every year is always going to be the same 5 people. February 1st is going to be the same 5 people that get a social media touch. March 1st is going to be the same 5 people that get a card. After your first 90 days, every day you wake up, you open up CINC, and it says, call these 5, social media touch these 5, and send 5 cards. And that's it. Like, you don't have to think about it. One of the simplest things about habits is to understand that simplicity matters. So I'll tell you a quick story about flossing. Not proud of it, but we've made progress. So I want you guys to know that. So I went to my dentist and, like any dentist, the first thing he asked me was, when's the last time you flossed? And my answer was always the same. I flossed today. Because I would floss the day of my dentist appointment. I never had time for that. So I'm reading a book, Atomic Habits, and it talks about flossing and how when I would get up in the morning and go into my bathroom, I'd see my toothbrush. I wouldn't even think twice. I'd pick it up. I'd brush my teeth. I'd never leave my house without brushing my teeth. In fact, it would feel crazy not to, right? So I get up, brush my teeth, I'm good. And then I move on my way. Well, how hard is it for us to floss? I walk in my bathroom. I open one drawer, I pull out the floss, I pull it out to the right length, and then I can start flossing. That's not really difficult, is it? But the truth is that little extra step of having to open a drawer, having to find that little square thingy, having to measure out the right amount of floss, all of that was enough for my brain to say, I'm not doing that. That's too much work. So I went, after reading that book, I went and bought those little picks that have like a little bit of floss in. They're like, they look like a, I don't know, violin or something. So every day, I don't know. They look like something. So I take one and I wake up, I walk in, and it's sitting there. And I'm like, oh, boom, I pick it up, I do my quick floss, I brush my teeth, and I go. And I never think about it. So here's the biggest problem with this system. It is so simple to do that it is simple not to do. It's very simple to call 5 people. It's very simple, especially when the system just tells you, the auto track says, here's the 5 people. It's also very simple not to do. Now, any of my high achievers, you're sitting there and you're going, that's amazing. What if I did a 10-10-10? What if I did a 50-50-50? What if I did 100-100-100? It doesn't work like that because of this simple reason. We are creatures of habit, but it doesn't mean we're perfect every day. So if you miss a Monday, then you have to double up on Tuesday. So if I miss my 5-5-5 Monday, can I do a 10-10-10 on Tuesday? Probably. If I missed a 25-25-25 Monday, could I do a 50-50-50 Tuesday? No chance. So the day you miss one, you can never catch up, and then you end up just scrapping the whole thing. So when you're trying to start a new habit, very small pieces, very achievable goals. Remember, month 1, call 5 people each day. That's it. That's so simple. Even a caveman can do it. You know, that whole thing. So you develop the system of how you're connecting to frequency and intensity. You partner with different programs to help reinforce that and reinforce what you did. So that same company, we send out postcards. So what I found over time, we were sending out these long newsletters that had all these interesting articles. Nobody reads those. If you get them from a lender, if you get them from your insurance agent, if you get them from anybody, you're not reading them. Nobody's reading yours either. So I realized, like, we're wasting our time doing that. So what we did is we changed to giant postcards, and here's where we came up with the idea. My wife reached out to me, and she said, I was traveling. I was actually, Jamie, I think I was with you in Vegas for a CINC event, and my wife reaches out. It's a Thursday, and I fly home the next day, and she says, hey, what time do you land? And I said, oh, I'm land at 4 o'clock. And she said, great. Don't forget, we have that bridal shower at 7. I started laughing. I was like, honey, I don't go to bridal showers. That's a girl thing. And she said, well, funny you say that. It's one of the progressive ones that men are also invited to. And I'm like, yay! Oh, great. And then she said, I have more good news for you. It's your friend, so you have to buy the gift. And in our house, whoever's friend is getting married, that's the person who buys the gift. I said, fine, whatever. What do they want? She said, they want a blender. And I said, all right, fine. So like any normal person, if I need a blender, where am I going? Amazon.com. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, it'll be there tomorrow. Oh, that's 2-day shipping, and I need it tomorrow. So now I'm like annoyed. I'm like, oh God, I can't even use Amazon. I'm gonna have to physically walk into a store. I can't think of anything more grotesque than that, but I'm gonna have to do it because I need to show up with a gift. So I'm also super cheap, as you can tell my P&L talk. I'm super cheap, so I'm like, I'm not paying full price for this blender. I wanna get 20% off. So where's a store I can go that I can always get 20% off? And if anybody doesn't know this, Bed Bath & Beyond. Like, it's so simple. And the only reason we all know that, not because we go there very often, but because you pick up a card in your mail once a month and you go, this company's still in business, and you throw it out. But every time you pick it up for that 2 to 4 seconds, you remember they exist. So that's what we've decided to do with our team. We use the same company and we send out a giant postcard, and it goes out every single month. Now, again, create a system around it, make it easy. 4 times a month, that card goes out and it has a list of all the transactions we did. I wish I had one. In my office, I have one. Our recent card is a card like this. It's got pictures of about 85 houses on here. And it says, your Waldner Winters team was able to help 85 families, even during this COVID crisis. If you or anyone you know is still looking to buy or sell, call us about our COVID protection program. So it's very in the times. It also lets everybody know, like, holy crap, look, they're still selling a lot of houses. Doesn't your brother have his house for sale and he's been struggling? Maybe he should call them, right? Like, that's the goal. So that's 4 times a year. 4 times a year, it's the invite. So it's a cow and an ice cream cone and a big "you're invited" and it has all the details of it and go here to RSVP. And again, the goal of that one is they pick it up, they look at it, and then they put it on their fridge. Now they stare at it all month until the actual event. And then the third one has something to do with a holiday. So it could be something about New Year's, it could be something, whatever the holiday is in that time. So all 12 of those are planned out before the year even starts. We don't have to think about it. It's all done. All the templates are in that system. And every day on the 25th of the month, we go boom, and then it mails them out and it hits all that stuff. So it's super, super simple. But all this stuff, if you notice, we're leveling, or we're just putting things on top of that. We're stacking. So it starts with a phone call. Then we add social media. Then we add the card. Then we have referral gifts when they give us a referral. Then we send out the invites. Then we have the parties. Then we reach out. Like, all of this stacked on top of each other is all about the connection you're making to keep that emotional proximity. Simple to do, simple not to do.
Nick, that's great. I'm going to open it up for questions. I haven't seen, we focused on the 325. So I think that's an important takeaway. Building the system, if you don't do it, it's not going to work. And so by focusing on that 5 and building, the one question, you mentioned the book about habits. What's the name? Do you remember the name of that book?
Yes. You made me forget it now.
Sorry. So we'll go to another question. If not, Nick will send that out. So that was something that popped up.
Atomic Habits. Great book. Definitely recommend that. It really kind of teaches you about yourself and your mind and how it works. And so often we think we just need to have more willpower, and that's crap. Willpower just doesn't work. It always fades. It's like a muscle. It tires out. So what we need to do is create a system that we don't have to think about. So like, if I'm trying to lose weight, you cannot have Oreo cookies or chocolate chip cookies in my household, because I will eat them. But when they're not here, I won't eat them. And that's so you have to create an environment around you for success. And Atomic Habits does a great job of helping explain that.
Awesome. As everyone leaves today, and they're thinking about the one thing that they need to do before they go into the weekend. So we have 2 days before we hit the weekend. What is that going to be?
Yeah, so the first thing I would do is, if you shoot me an email at info@Waldner Winters Team, I'm going to send you the notes I've put together on the 555 program. So we went through a quick version of it, but I really want to send you, like, broken down. This is the same thing that we use when we I keep pointing to it because it's right there. This is the same system we use when we're training new agents on our team. So this is what we use to teach them what we do. And I've been developing over the last couple of years to kind of get it more and more narrowed down. And then, of course, I'll share the company that we've just partnered with to help do all of our tasks and get everything done for us, because that's been really helpful. They also do our just listed, just sold, and under contract cards. I can get a 4x6 postcard sent out for free. All I do is pay for postage, 37 cents, and I can determine who it's going to. Like, people that have been in their house for over 5 years with a minimum income of this, and like all that stuff you can do so that it's much more impactful with who you're hitting those with. So all that stuff, I'll share all that stuff, but the 555 method, I can't stress this enough. This is simple, this is easy, and most of you won't do it. It's just the cold hard facts. So tell yourself, I'm going to do that, which means you've got to take action as you're on this call. You should be sending an email, because in an hour, you're going to forget. Tomorrow, you're not going to remember, and then it's gone forever. You just spent 45 minutes with us. What did you get out of this? What are you going to use? What are you going to implement right away? We go to too much education and don't implement, because that's what we think. Well, I showed up for another class and I took this class and I got this GRI and I got this BF and I got all these extra letters behind my name, but I didn't do anything. Show me somebody who does, and they're always going to beat somebody who learns. So learning is only good if you implement.
We'll be sharing this recording so you guys can take some additional notes, and then we'll be putting it in our YouTube channel. I challenge each of you, if you dive in, share and let us know. There's always some sort of reward that I like to send out when individuals have listened and then implemented. I want to gift you a couple different things, so be on the lookout for those items. I think at this point, Nick, we haven't had any additional questions. Will we send in the recording? Is there any last words that you want to pass along before we wrap things up today?
Yeah, I think that who you surround yourself matters. So we've developed a Facebook group around the gift giving that we're doing. So whether it's custom cards, whether it's brownies, we've got golf balls that say, "I'm not lost, I'm hiding from Nick Waldner," or whatever their name is. We've got some really cool things.
Good. And
we've created a Facebook page that we share ideas about, hey, I just thought about this and this is what I send. And then somebody else says, oh, I'm near the beach and we've started sending these, and all those different touches to help keep our systems as highly operated as possible. So selfishly, I want you guys in those systems, because when you come up with a great idea, I get to implement it. And vice versa, when somebody else in the group comes up with a great idea, you get to implement it. Again, doesn't work if you don't implement, but you got to implement.
I love that. Well, I think we'll give everyone a few minutes back in their day. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. We'll be sending the recording. If you have and want that, you need to email info@waldnerwintersteam.com, and Nick will get it out to you. We'll also include that in the email. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Yes, guys, sorry about yesterday and the Zoom troubles, but we got it all in today, and I hope this was worth the wait.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Nick.
All right, have a great day.
Talk to y'all soon. Thank you.